Okay, so now I'll show you what I mean by making changes to Angel Island's intro, making it more customizable. So here, I'll show you a little demonstration with what I was referring to earlier. Here, let's just ignore all these warnings. Alright, so let's just press start. I'll show you real quick. Let's play with one of the characters. So basically, if you remember the introduction for Sonic 3's Angel Island intro, you'll notice that it's a very long cutscene and you can't skip it, or you can just sit and watch it. But let's just say you want to save time and skip it. For example, make an improvement. You don't want to sit through that whole thing. It gets kind of annoying because you want to just get to the gameplay if you're like testing your own ROM hack. So here, let me just demonstrate with what I've added, or what what this guide will lead you to doing. So press start. So now I will teach you how to skip the cutscene entirely, kind of like how Sonic 3 Complete does it. So in order to start doing that, we'll have to start doing a couple of things. First of all, here, just hit tab. So basically, at the end of this tutorial I'll also include a way of how you can add multiple cutscenes for multiple characters, but we'll get to that later. So first, let's go into what we need to do first. Alright, so right here I've compiled a list of all the locations that need to be adjusted and changed for the Angel Island intro, because it's a special code in Sonic 3. Yes, because Angel Island is its own unique level because it's a cutscene. So yeah, it's different from other levels. So you have to make adjustments to the code in order to make uniqueness. But in order to do that, we're going to need a flag to switch and check each part of it. See this right here? We have a flag that we can use, like this unused flag here, which is unknown EE08. We're gonna make it unused. So first, let's go check through our tutorial, see if it's being used by anything. Let's check the constants, Sonic 3 and Knuckles constants. We're doing this for Sonic 3 and Knuckles. All right, so hit Control F, and then new unknown EE. So this is actually unused. Okay, so we actually are good to use it as it's shown in the constants. Let's close that out. Let's go ahead and go to our, hang on, sorry, I have two different source codes at once, so just bear with me. So this is actually unused as shown here. So let's go ahead and just take a look. There's one match in the file. It's only cleared right here. So what you want to do here is you want to disable it, because we're going to use it for something else entirely. Alright, so we'll make a save there. Let's see. So we will use this flag as a check for whether if you want to have the cutscene of the Angel Island intro to be disabled or not. So we're gonna have to set that up first. Set up we can add additional code for for making it skip. So we're gonna make a routine first, which is gonna be called Skip Angel Island Intro. I will post I'll post the whole routine that you can copy paste into your disassembly in the description if you want, or you could just type along with me. So yeah, basically, and we're gonna paste it right before this routine called SpawnLevelMainSprites. So if you can see that clearly, if not, I'll try to make sure I adjust it so you guys can see it in the description. So here, let's go ahead and make an adjustment. Let's go to that place. Here, hang on. Let's go to the routine right here. This area right here. Let's go to hang on. Let me double check something real quick. Sorry, bear with me. Sorry about that. I mean, this is kind of my first time making a tutorial, so just bear with me. if my speaking sucks. So we're gonna make these two routines right here: skip to start cutscene and Angel Island intro. So we're going to try to make both of them at once. I'll explain what each of them do along the way. First, let's start with this one. So we're going to go to our disassembly that we didn't do yet. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So there, let's see. We can just type it in. I'm just gonna. This is what I did before. I have to. I kind of have to go back and forth. So skip Angel Island. Oops, sorry, intro. So we put that in there. Let's go ahead and look for. Okay, so this is the code here. This is what we're gonna copy and paste. I'll leave a link. I'll put it in the description so you can just copy paste it into your disassembly. But I'll do it like this. So, but I'm gonna type it in by hand just because, you know, just because it's a better, efficient way. Unknown underscore. Oops, no, sorry. Let me type back what that was called again. Sorry. Just bear with me. I'm kind of doing this on the fly, kind of winging this, but I want to, you know, make it easier for you. I want to make a tutorial, so yeah, I kind of want to get more uploads out there. Let's see, it was EE08. There we go. Let's double check that was correct. Okay, now we have to put in a check to make sure if the flag is set, and if it is, then if another flag is set, which is going to be the EE09, which is the address that's after this one here, which, you know, because a byte, because like 2 digits equals a byte, and if you have 4 digits, that's 2 bytes. So we're going up a byte. We're going up by 1 byte with the +1. It's going to be E9 because 8 plus 1 is 9. So yeah, that's basically what that's for. So we're going to make sure, because this EE09 is going to be like is another flag that is also unused in this disassembly, so we're going to use that for something else later. But I'll explain what it's for later after we get through this one part. So we're going to go to unknown EE08 plus 1, which, you know, is the address for this. Okay, so yeah, I might repeat myself a lot, so just keep that in mind. I'm sorry if I do. I'll try my best to be less repetitious if I can. So we're gonna, you know, make the return routine. Okay, call it end. There we go. A return. Okay, because this is the end of the routine. You know, for end routine. So there we go. This is the flag that checks for another thing I'll explain later. This is the primary flag to skip the intro, the Angel Island intro entirely. And so we're going to include player modes just to test it out, which will set the flag off, which doesn't skip the intro if you're a certain character. But if you're Knuckles, it'll skip this and it'll make it end. But if you're all the other characters, it'll turn it off, so it'll play the introduction cutscene. I'll explain why I have it like this in a minute. So here, let's just put in move word, because player mode is apparently 2 bytes, which, you know, takes up a lot, is just kind of a waste of space in my opinion. I mean, I don't know why you really need to have 2 bytes to occupy player mode. That's a bit bizarre in my opinion, because literally there's only three players. The players don't exceed past the byte FF, which, you know, would lead to 100 bytes, but there's no, like, I don't understand. Oh, whoops, I made a mistake here. Sorry. I meant to put compare, not move. Sorry. This is test bytes. Double check everything's correct. Okay, good. Okay, so there. We'll put in branch equals to Angel Island intro end. We'll just, yeah, it skips this if it's player 3 mode, meaning it turns off the introduction, but just for testing purposes, we can have it at 0 just to test it. So yeah, and then we can have this. We'll just make another thing like that. This is a routine I made up. So yeah, but I'm going back and forth because I did like this work beforehand, testing out my own tutorial, but I'm presenting it to you now. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of doing this non-scripted because, you know, I don't want to stress myself out when making tutorials. I'm trying to follow Clownacy's style of how he makes tutorials. I'm being inspired by him. Of course, you can say if I'm I'm ripping off of him or not. It doesn't matter to me. It's fine. I'm just making my own tutorial, doing my own take on this. So there, we have our tutorial. We have our tutorial. We have our own introduction made. Angel Island intro. So basically, we have our routine made. Let me just check and see what other steps I need to go through to establish with you guys. So basically, just double checking. Okay, and then we gotta add it to a routine. Let's see, I had it. So we gotta add it somewhere. Hang on, let me double check where I had this last in my other disassembly. Just bear with me. Okay, so oops. Oh, hang on a second. Thought I had it in here. Wait. Oh wait, no, that's wrong. Wait, wait. Why do I have it? Oh, weird. Okay, well, whatever. So anyway, so skip Angel Island intro is actually okay. Sorry, I forgot to include a dash. My bad. It's not important. You can name it whatever you want, but it is. But however, if you name it like without the dash, you're gonna have to make the jump to it with the dash, without the dash. But make sure you include the dash, I guess, just so then you don't mess up this tutorial. I mean, yeah. So basically, we're gonna do it like that. Well, okay, sorry. Let's see. Let's just go backwards a little bit. Okay, let's just continue. Oops, sorry, I went back too far. Let's see. So here's okay. I have it under 6088. That's for Sonic 3. Okay, let's go to local 68. Local 6088. It's the routine. I have to explain what it's for. Hang on. It's basically it initiates the player modes, and it basically checks the. It's also a location for the Angel Island intro, as seen right here. So yeah, I mean, in another video, I will go over the Sonic 3 alone disassembly. But for now, we're gonna try to go over Sonic 3 and Knuckles since it's just more convenient for me. So yeah, we can just do that. So this has to branch over to this routine, which is right above LoadSpawnMainSprites, which checks the introduction for each of the players of each of the stages, like the Angel Island plane intro, for example. This is going to also be another location we're going to make modifications to later. So, but first, we're going to double check to make sure I got everything. Okay, that should be good. Make sure you hit JSR because that jumps over to, because it's going to be, because I don't know how far it is. But if branch subroutine word works for you, then that's fine. But if it's too long, then do JSR. Yeah, just another little coding technique with assembly. Okay, sorry. I'm feeling kind of exhausted, so let's just get going here. Let's see. What else did I have to do? List of Angel Island. Okay, sorry. Let's see. What else do I need to do here? What else do I need to do before going over that list? Wait, we're going to do that in a minute. Hang on a second. We'll get to this part next after we go over the introduction thing. Okay, so here, let's, hold on a second. Sorry, I'm trying to keep track for myself because I know how it is with like the frustration with like getting lost and getting confused when you're trying to get something to work. So yeah. Basically, we're going to go through. So now I guess we can go through every single routine with adding a check here. This check right here. Test byte, whether if this is set to 1 or 0. If it's set to 0, it'll just, not, it'll skip it. Or if it's set to 1, it will not skip it. But just keep in mind, just bear with me. Alright, so I could just copy this whole thing, I guess. And you have to find every instance of, like, throughout each of these 3 routines, every instance of this, and replace it with this, because it'll make your life easier. So we're going to do it that way. We're going to go through each of these routines one by one, and replace every instance of compare word, 2-player mode, branch if it's less than, higher. Like every instance of these, they're going to be different variations, whether if it's higher than, not higher than, or like if it's on the carry or not the carry, because there's differences between each of these. But because these actually are like, how do I word it? It's basically like in math, you have like an inclusion of a number where you include the number. And then this is to like whether if it's less than that. That this is just where it doesn't include the number, where it's just if it's higher than 2, and this is if it's less than 2. These are each of the branches, so we have to go over for every single instance of each of these. So yeah, that's what we got to do now. So let's go ahead and do that. So I won't waste any more of your time. All right, let's go ahead. Let's just go ahead to local 640. Again, these will all be in the description, just to reiterate, so then you won't get lost of the changes you have to do to this. But if you have any issues, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to help and answer. All right, so next, let's go to the routine. All right, so this code doesn't actually have much of an impact, but it is important. But we should go over it anyways, because, you know, however it is. Okay, let's go over to, let's just see how I did before. So basically, you have to replace this with this. Yeah, that's basically all you got to do. So you got to go over here, got to copy this whole line of code. Yeah, make sure it's set to 0, because if it checks if it's at 1, if it's not, it skips. Or no, if it's at 0, I'm sorry. If it's not at 0, it'll skip. That's what I meant. Sorry. My bad. Anyway, let's just hit branch. You can put word if you want, but you know, it could also be short, since it's just one line of code changed. So yeah, that'll make your life a lot easier. All right. I had it as word before, but you don't really need to do that. It's fine. It goes to the same location. So here, let's go ahead, skip. All right. Just keep checking back and forth. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little OCD, so I'm sorry. I do apologize. So anyway, all right. So yeah, save that. Let's go to the next part of the tutorial. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to local 6888. The next routine where you. Oh wait, no, I did. No, sorry. I have to make changes to the second player mode, which was right around here. Oh, I forgot to also. Well, we'll get to that part next, where I include the 0. But right now, we got to make the change of this. So for here, you have to put this right above last star post hit. Otherwise, it'll just skip it entirely, and you don't want that. You definitely want it to check. So you definitely want to put it as a dominance. So here, let's just go ahead and paste it on top. Let's move that on top like that. All right. Alrighty, lads. Let's just turn this to branch if it's not equal, and then we'll just get we'll get that location again, because I don't feel like typing it up again. So Control V. Here, just go ahead and turn this to bytes. Test bytes. There we go. Let's go back and forth just to make sure I didn't screw anything up. It's not equal. I mean, I have it as word here, but you don't necessarily need to have it as word. Well, I mean, you could if you want, which I guess I will, since I will be adding code here later, just because reasons. So anyway, let's go ahead and save that. Make sure this is correct. Sorry, I have to double check. Oh, whoops, I screwed something up here. I'm supposed to actually have the skip intro, because the character mode's set first, so this has to actually be over here. So yeah, the character mode wouldn't be set here, so it wouldn't really work. So yeah, sorry, I forgot. This has to be the character mode has to be set first with the number of this flag this address here. So yeah, that has to be on top of that. I'm sorry, that was a small mistake on my end. Okay, so anyway, let's just check back and forth. Unknown EE. Okay, sorry. I'm a little bit finicky here. Sorry, just bear with me. All right, so if it's not equal, it just branches over. Yes, okay, sorry. I'm stuttering a bit just because there's a few changes I have to make. Okay, so let's just double check one more time. Make sure that's correct. See? Okay, so now next, let's go on to the next part. Let's get to the next routine, which is 6248. This part's the longest part, so just bear with me. But it's okay. Once this part's over, then it should be easier to follow this guide. Oops, wait, hang on a second. I screwed up something here. Okay, here we go. This is the routine we're looking for. So let's just see if I had to make any changes based off of my other disassembly. Let's see. Alright, so we have Angel Island intro. So basically we have the unknown E. So yeah, let's see. Current, did I have to make, oh yes, I did. I have to put this right above this. Oh, hang on. Sorry, that was a mistake. Okay, just hit tab or hit enter. Okay, here we go. So yeah, basically. Okay, so anyways, let's just change this unknown E. Let's see, go ahead. Sorry. So we have the same routine, the unknown EE0. We'll change it here. Yep, I'm gonna start cringing at myself later, but that's okay. I'm willing to take the heat. So we have to make sure that this unknown flag is above the level checks, just because it will not work if it was below it, because it wouldn't consider or accommodate for it first. So it's always good. It's always a good idea to have it above. Let's see. This branches. Okay, yeah, that sounds okay. That's correct. Making sure this is all correct. All right. Okay. Make sure it's also byte, not word, because it's not 2 bytes. It's 1 byte that we're 1 RAM address byte that we're using checking. Okay, so now we got that part done. That's how it should be. Let's go ahead and go to spawn main level sprites. This is the big one, an important one. So let's go ahead and go find it. Hey, hang on. Oh, this is on backwards. Well, whatever. All right. Oops. Okay, we're right here. So now let's go over to the spawn level main sprites. Okay, right here. See what I did here? I had this unknown flag here. This is actually important for this. We have to make, so basically we have to make an array for each of the player objects. I'll get to this. I'll explain this part later. But for now, we're going to just have it skip if it's unknown EE8. So yeah, okay. So let's go ahead and find that. Let's see, what do I have to do here again? Oh, here we go. All right, so yeah, we're going to have this above the unknown current zone act check. So we're going to put this right here. We're going to move this up. Let's go ahead and look for that. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so let's see. Do I have to do anything here? This is unused flag. Okay, well, it's not going to make a difference anyway. So here we just have to drag this here. Just move this right here. Honestly, I have no idea why it skips entirely, but that's weird. Anyway, this actually is supposed to branch over to the next zone, so that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do, mates. Let's see. Go ahead and change that. Lock it. No. Sorry. It has to be changed to this routine, 6834. We'll just change that branch so then it goes down here, as opposed to skipping the entire. How do I word it? The entire. As opposed to just skipping the entire thing. So yeah. Okay, sorry. Anyway, let's keep the momentum going. Test byte. We're gonna change this to the unknown E. Ugh. That same RAM address we had from before. I've said a bajillion times already within the last 10 minutes. I do apologize for that. So yeah, and it checks the zone and skips it. Okay, that's good. That's what we want. Okay. Let's just see if both of these checks are correct. We'll get to this part in a little bit, in a little while. We'll go ahead and go over that part and explain what this whole code here is for. So yeah, let's just keep going now. So yeah, basically, I'll have to make changes here later. I'll come back later. So yeah, okay. This let's see. Should I keep this here? It's fine. Just leave it the way it is, I guess. Okay, that's good. So anyway, let's go ahead and keep going. Next routine would be local 1BE7A, which is another routine. So to explain with what I'm saying here, like to explain why this tutorial is all jibbled up, is because I've done it, I've written it beforehand, and I've done all the changes to the code beforehand. So now I'm just kind of winging it by applying the changes from like my previous disassembly to this one, just to kind of show you what I did. So yeah, that's kind of why it's all why it's the way it is. So it's okay. It's just it's my first time doing this, so I said that already. Anyway, let's get to the next part. Okay, so now we have to make a change to this part with the starting positions, because this is what this routine's for. This routine adjusts the player's starting position to the far end, so then Sonic can be on the plane when he's going to like the when he's starting the cutscene. Because if it's far at the beginning, it'll just start at the beginning of the stage before Sonic starts. So this routine's for that, basically. Okay, so we're gonna do the same thing we did before. We're gonna have to move this code here, this check here for the second player. Oh, move it all the way up. Sorry, this is taking me a little bit of time. I do apologize. Let's just get to the point. So let's go ahead and hit if it's not equal, and we can just skip that whole code. And here, just gonna delete this. Do the same thing we did before. Test bytes checks the binary. Okay. I'm a little hasty here, but that's okay. This is the most annoying part of the guide. Just bear with me. Most tedious part of the guide. All right, let's just go ahead. I have to explain what I probably didn't have a chance to explain with what each part does, but I will get to that when I get to that. Okay, so just keep in mind. Let's see. All right, let's double check. So last star post hit, you skip. Let's make sure everything's in sync here. I like to double check my work just because I don't want to screw something up and then be confused with where I was lost with what I did wrong. So. Alright, so that's good. Let's just go ahead and save that. Okay, so now we got to go to the level load block, because for some reason, oops, hang on, undo. For some reason, the level load block for the stage for Angel Island sets its ID to the cutscene, which for some reason is at zone ID D00. Well, I'll illustrate in a minute. So basically, all right, we're gonna go to level block 2 first. That's fine. We can go level block 1. So basically, what we have here, so yeah, it's like for some reason it has this set to ID 0, which I don't know why they did it this way, but okay. I mean that's just how they did it. So I don't know why they have the ID set to 0, or to why they would change the first zone to set its ID to D00. Like that's weird. Why they would just change the zone? That's kind of a bizarre choice. But okay, I mean it's not a big deal. We can just work around it. Not the end of the world. All right, so we're gonna change this. Change that to that. Okay. We're going to copy this unknown EE08, paste it in there. Okay, so there. Anyway, so last star post hit is just kind of, here. Let me just double check real quick if I had to make any changes to that. Nope. Okay, looks like I can just skim through this. Current zone act. So, yeah, that's just checks the first zone. And they kind of I don't know what, I guess they kind of had to for the cutscene. I think it's just kind of bizarre, but whatever. That's kind of a weird way of doing it, but okay. That's fine. They probably didn't want it. Actually, the reason I think is because they didn't want to have to change the zone in order to I don't know. They didn't want to have to change the zone entirely without doing anything weird with it. So yeah, anyway, let's just get to the next part. Let's just double check real quick. Make sure this is correct. The flag is set. Alright, so we can skip this over here. Skip this over here. Okay, so anyway, let's just save that real quick. Let's double check one more time. Make sure I did it correctly here. Okay, so now we go ahead to go to the next level load block, which is the first one. Skip that. Oh, sorry. Let's keep going. Here we go. Level load block 1. We do the same changes as before. Let's see. Let's go ahead. There's 2 level load blocks that are loaded, so you definitely want to do it to this one as well. You will need to do the same change to this one as well. Let's go ahead. TBSB. Oh, sorry. Change this to byte because again it's 1 byte, not 2. I already reiterated, so it's okay. It's totally fine. Let's just go ahead and change that to branch if it's not equal, because we're using binary, not numbers. Not like, well, we're using only like only 2 digits, not a whole bunch. So yeah, or yeah, okay, because we're comparing with a huge. Okay, so yeah, they did it this way because they probably didn't want the zone to like have to be. They didn't want to have to change the zone ID every time. So I guess I kind of understand why. I mean, it's an interesting way of how they did it, I guess. So yeah. Alright, so they skipped that. Make sure it's done correctly. Let's double check. Okay, good. Skip that, or save that. I'm sorry. Alright, I'm going to have to go back through each of these routines and maybe explain what each does. So this one. Okay, so this is just the dynamic resize routine, which, you know, does a bunch of things for the interesting, like for the cutscene, you know. Like it loads the, I think this is just loads the pattern load clues for the intro cutscene. But yeah, but anyway, we move this above the last star post hit again. Or, hang on, let me double check. See if I have to move it above the camera pose check. Let's double check again. Nope, just move it above the last star post hit. Okay, good. Okay, I'm relieved there. Thought I had to do something drastic. So let's just go ahead and let's see. Let's go ahead and just hit branch if it's not equal. Skip ahead there. Let's go ahead and do the change our compare to test bytes because we're using only 2 digits. Of course, you don't have to do it this way. You could technically get away with doing it as compare 1 or 0, but for the sake of this tutorial, we're just going to do test byte. Okay, there we go. And we have to change this flag here. Okay. Let's go ahead and change the flag. Just hit paste. The flag that we've been using this whole time. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and yeah. So it changed it. It's also for the palette too. I forgot to mention. But anyway, that's not too important now because let's just go ahead and compare. Make sure this is correct. Alright, that's fine. Sorry, I like to double check. You know, it's always good to double check. Anyway, let's go to the next one. C4DO. Let's go ahead and just get to the next one. Alright, so we have our last checkpoint, or our next checkpoint. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make changes here. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing we did before. And this is for, let's double check. What was this for again? I think it's just for the art, I think. I mean, there was one that's for the pattern load clues for the extra stuff, which isn't necessarily tied to the level, but necessarily more for like the extra secondary art patterns. This is for the primary level art, I believe, or the blocks, I think. No, it's for the art. It's for the art, I think. No, it's for the blocks. Okay, sorry. Sorry, my memory's kind of foggy. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, let's just go ahead and do it this way. Skip over the... So yeah, basically, we'll have to change this again, once again, to this flag here. Oh, it's going to become exhausting, but it's okay. It's right above the last star post hit. Hang on. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I guess I could change this to Word just in case. Same with this one. And this one should be changed to Word as well. Just in case if I have to make changes to the lines later so it doesn't, you know, the compiler doesn't get upset that it's too far to branch to. So there, we just do a quick change. That the jump of the code is too far. So we're going to save that. Let's just go ahead back and forth, double check. Okay, very good. So now we're going to go over to the last, wait, was that the last routine? Okay, so here. Let's see. So this routine here is for something later. Let me just double check real quick. I thought it was for something later. Yes, it's for something later. So yeah, we're not going to worry about this right now. Is that everything? Let me double check. Let's go back and check again. Let's go to our skip Angel Island intro. We only need it once, I believe. Only one place we need to put it. Okay. Yes. Okay, so... Okay, that's good. So, there we go. So I believe that should be everything. We can double check through all these real quick, just to make sure. This first one's kind of pointless to add, but I just kind of included anyway. The second one was for something else. I can't remember. Okay. Sorry about this. It's a little bit wishy-washy. So yes, this is important. All right. So yes, this is done. This is for the cutscenes, or no, for the players, spawn the players. Yeah, we did that already. We already established that. Okay, so now starting to breathe here. Yes, this is for the music. We did this. We already did this part. Okay, so yeah, I believe that should be everything for the first part. So we will go ahead and compile. Go to build scripts here in our disassembly. Build Sonic 3 completes. All right, let's go ahead. See what it does. See if it compiles, I mean. See what it does. No, see what if it compiles. Alright, so we have it here. Let me just double check the routine just to make sure that I had that I can check for check for player check for the player mode 1 I have set in this routine. We have this because this is the routine we want it to have the player to skip the cutscene. So if you wanted to add more, we can probably add, like, I don't know, say like Knuckles, for example. Here, we're going to just quickly add that in. Oops, Control Z, sorry. Okay, so let's go ahead and just put 3, save. Okay, we're just going to do that real quick because we want to test that as well. Okay, file moved. Okay. So now we're gonna go ahead and test this now. Let's go on to our game. Enter. All right, let's skip this. Make sure I did this correctly. Oops, wait, is this the right controller? Oh, okay. Hang on a second. Let's just go ahead and skip. Wait. Something's wrong with my controller. Something's up with my controller. All right, let's go ahead and hit key bindings. Oh, cancel. What the heck? What's going on with my controller? Hang on, guys. I'm sorry. My controllers are being kind of weird. Back. Wait. Hang on a second. Something's. Okay, here we go. Back. Something's wrong with my controller. Not sure why it's not working. The controller's supposed to work. Weird. Okay, hang on a second. It was working before. It's weird. Okay, there we go. Something weird is going on. Why is my controller not working? Hold on a second. What's wrong with my controller? Why isn't the controller not working? Hang on a second. Let me try this in and the Blitzhawk, for example. Let's try Blitzhawk instead. Let's try Blitzhawk instead. Alright. Okay, so for some reason my Blast MU controller is not working. Alright, whatever. Let's just test it here. Okay, see, it skips the cutscene. Alright, so it's working so far. Good. Sorry, the Blast MU emulator is acting kind of finicky with me right now. Not quite sure why it's doing that. Alright, so it seems to work so far. Let's test dying just to make sure it's working correctly. Just to make sure I didn't screw anything up. Because Sonic 3's disassembly can have extra things that you have to be aware of. Alright. Alright, nothing. Okay, no efficiencies here. No deficiencies here. Alright. Alright. Yeah. Oops. Let me try to see where I can restart. Hang on a second. Let's go ahead and try to restart the ROM. Soft reset. That's fine. Alright. Okay, so let's try with Knuckles, because I did have it skip the introduction. Alright, it's working. That's good. Very good. Alright, let's go ahead now. Let's test Sonic now. Soft reset. Okay. Let's just try Sonic alone. Alright, the cutscene's playing. That's good. Cutscene's playing like expectedly. Alright, so now, should work now, that's good. Let's see. Okay. Alright, good, it's working. It's working as expected. No deficiencies here. Let's try dying just to see what happens, just to see if it still works. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into this. There we go. Kill ourselves. See what happens. Okay, it works. Good. There's no deficiencies. The island there's no glitches or anything. It all loads properly, just as it should. Okay. That's good. That's what I wanted. So good. Alright, so the cutscene works now. Alright, I have no idea why my Blast MU controller is being weird, but we'll look into that later. So anyway, let's get to our second part of the tutorial, which would be skipping the cutscene, which, you know, is the important part, the one that we all want to see most. And then I'll talk about the cutscene array soon, very shortly. So first, we just gotta go over skipping the cutscene. See what I have to do next. Well, I know what I have to do. I just have to, you know, get to this. I have to create a new cutscene, create a new routine that I made like a little bit ago when I was writing this guide. All right, so it's right here. We have to incorporate this code here, which, you know, well, first we have to include a new flag, which is the same, which is the same around the same RAM address as the one we used before, but it's 1 byte up, which is EE09, not EE08. So let me just write that in the comments real quick. Just to be clear where the location is, FFFEE09. Yeah, that's the location. This is the location here. So yeah, basically, what we gotta do now is we gotta just Alright, so we gotta incorporate that above this routine. Well, I mean, you can put it wherever you need to, but I put it here just to make it easier for myself. So we're just gonna make our routine here. Start creating that routine, which is basically the code that lets you skip the cutscene, or sets the flag to skip the cutscene. And you also need this flag here, the restart level flag, because the level loops, the level's in a main code loop, and whenever this flag is triggered at the end of the loop, the game checks it and it restarts the entire level. So basically, that's what this flag is for. It's important to include as well. So yeah, but first we gotta make it clear. First we gotta, I'll put, and by the way, I'll put some of these other labels too in the description. I'll put this routine in the description so you can just copy paste it if you want to. But I'm gonna type it out by hand for convenient purposes, explaining with what each line does. This just clears the data register. It's important to have, so then you won't have any leftover cache data to corrupt your data register, which will, cause overflow problems. So you definitely want to clear the entire data register every time before you use it, because it could have been executing heavier operations that were bigger than the size of a byte or a word from a long. You definitely want to clear it for those reasons. So yeah, and then you want to so this basically just moves this next line basically just moves the controller. The data that's from the control flag, from the controller, whatever the player pressed into the controller, which is important to talk about. Controller1 _ pressed. Here we go. Checks if you've pressed the button as opposed to holding it. There's different types of bits. It's complicated binary or complicated. There's complicated binaries, which I could go over, but I don't really feel like explaining right now. Okay, and then you have to OR it, basically. Is basically just kind of an efficient way to check if the second controller is also being pressed. Well, the buttons are also being pressed through the second controller as well. So you use an OR, basically kind of like an AND, basically checking if something is true or if this is true. Then it sets, kind of like, the true or kind of like the AND operators and the OR operators. That's kind of how this works, although it's a little more complicated in assembly, but I don't really feel like explaining entirely everything. So yeah, then we got to give an AND, basically, which checks whether if any of these buttons are pressed, including what it checks to see if each of these flags are equal, if start is equal to any of these RAM addresses. So yeah. Oh, here, let's just change this to a byte. And it checks to see if start was pressed, which basically is how do I describe it in words? Basically, it's like a way to test to see if it's if it keeps doing math calculations. That's kind of does it mathematically in a way. So there's OR, but it kind of ships the bits of each of these RAM addresses until it reaches 0. So if it is equal to 0, it'll just go to it'll skip the entire rest of the code, which we're going to use this routine. Put it here. Sorry, I really am terrible at explaining things, so just bear with me. But yeah, basically that's what it does. So here we're going to include another branch, so none of this code gets executed. Another branch to the end of the routine after this code's done executing. Okay, so now we got to incorporate our new flag, which is whatever this is, the one that we discussed a little earlier. That's the secondary flag that checks whether if you've pressed the start button trying to skip the cutscene, and you want to, basically. I mean, this is just kind of a way to tie it together, just so then you can set it to 0, just so then you won't have to keep skipping the cutscene. Just so then the level doesn't keep. Man, I can't really. I keep spluttering my words. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. That's okay. I have problems speaking, so it's okay. I'm a little tongue-tied. That's okay. I think we are all a little tongue-tied to some degree. But now we got to do the restart level. We got to incorporate a call to the restart level flag, or set it to 1, so then the level knows when to restart the level and stop its looping. So yeah, that's basically what that does. And yeah. So there we go. We saved it. Count. We have 1 match. Okay, we got to incorporate this in here. 3 matches. Oops. Let's just make sure we know. Okay, so we have to find the plain Angel Island object intro. We gotta type that in there. Oops, I misspelled intro. Or no, did I? Okay, no, I didn't. I'm sorry. All right, so we gotta make a call to the skip to the cutscene. Hang on a second. We gotta make a call to this function here, to this routine. So we gotta go back to the object, to the very top. We just gotta make a jump subroutine line call because it's far away, and I don't feel like using branch subroutine. So there we go. Angel Island intro is done here. Alright, so I think we're good for the second part. Soon enough, we'll go over how to incorporate player cutscenes, which I'll do very shortly after I'm done with this. So we got to build scripts now. File moved. Or, sorry, that's what the compiler's doing. Alright, so looks like it compiled pretty well. Alright, it worked. Hang on a second. Nope, this button's not working. Hang on a second. Alright, sorry. I'm subconsciously used to using BlastMU. Alright, now it's working for some reason. Okay, that was weird. Earlier it wasn't working for me. Alright, we're going to try Sonic Alone. See what happens when I press start. Alright, perfect. It works like a charm. It skips the cutscene entirely. So yeah. Oops. So yeah, now we have an option to skip the cutscene just like in Sonic 3 Complete. So hang on, sorry. Let's go ahead. Let's see. Okay, let's just test it again from another angle. Let's just see if the cutscene plays out properly. Make sure I did this correctly. Alright, this part was pretty short and easy. Let's go ahead when Sonic reaches the island. Okay, good. Very good. Perfect. Let's just make sure it plays properly. Then we can go to the next step. Oops, sorry. Keep hitting the wrong characters. I forgot that I set those for the default to not have a cutscene. Alright, so there we go. Let's just go ahead and skip through this. I already tested it. I know it works for certain. Alright. Alright, it works. We're good here. Just go ahead. Just tab. Okay, very good. Very good. Now, the next step would be to show you how we can make each of these players have their own cutscenes. So that's going to be the next part we're going to do right now. So first, we're going to go back to where we were before. The okay, to spawn level sprites, which is the routine that has the object, which spawns the Angel Island object. So from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make an array that consists of loading objects, which consists of having different objects load for each of the different characters, just to make it a little more efficient. So yeah, and it has to go in 4s, which is why we have to include two adds, because it has to go in like 4s, basically, because a long is 4 bytes, a word would be in 2 bytes, so it has to go in 4s. If it was in bytes, we wouldn't need this additional add word. Alright, so let's go ahead and add that routine. Let's go ahead and first we're gonna clear our data register 0 before we do operations, just to make sure that it wasn't used by a long. There wasn't long data cached away. Let's go ahead and see let's go ahead and double check. Alright, so we're gonna pull data from player mode. Let's go ahead and just oops underscore mode. Alright, that's good. And then push it into data register 0. And we're going to do add word. We're going to add it for like 2 times because again the array requires that you call that the array stores a long data, which is 4 bytes each for each entry in the array. So yeah, and you definitely want to make sure it's like set to it counts in 4s as opposed to 1s, because then it will not refer to the proper location, the correct location in the array. So sorry, wait, I forgot to make the array. Hang on a second. Let me just see how I sorted this out. Okay, so we could probably just put it right underneath here, just because it's not too big of a deal. Just go ahead and make a dash line. Okay. Keep saying okay too much. That's okay. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna just go ahead and Angel Island intro. What did I call it before? Player intro cutscene. Okay, sorry. Player intro cutscene. Oops. Intro cutscene. I'm sorry. I kind of wished-washed through a lot of the explanations here. Again, I suck at explaining things, so I'm sorry about that. I do apologize. All right, so we're gonna just copy this object for here. So we're gonna do that for each of the entries, just for now, because I'm gonna include a new object for Tails' object, so then he can have his own cutscene, which I'll demonstrate of it getting to work in a little bit here. Okay, so now we just gotta make a move here. Oops, let's go back real quick. Make sure I did it correctly. Move long, and then we wait. Whoops, hang on. Sorry, I made a mistake here. Let me just go ahead. And move long. Move long from. Oops. Okay, there we go. Move long, and then we make a call to the program counter, because that's where this is being stored. The whole array being stored from, and then we put our data register here to specify what location of the array we're trying to reach, which would be 0, 4, 8, I think C. Yeah, I think that's how it counts. It counts up in 4s. I'll have to double check on that. But if it's at 0, it'll go to 0. If it's at 1, it'll go to 4. And if the number is at 2, it'll go to location 8. If you get what I'm saying here, if what I said made sense. So we have to store this also, all this data here, whatever is being retrieved, into data register 0. So now we have to also replace this, so then we can get a new object loaded into whatever's loaded into data register here. We move it into here. Okay, good. We got through all that. Now we just gotta make we gotta get that tail. Now we gotta make a custom object, which I did make. I posted on github.com. You can just copy paste this entire intro, this entire thing, this entire object. I posted a link in the description or to the GitHub place, so you can just copy paste this entire code. It's basically kind of the same as the plain object from the original game's Angel Island intro, but it's got modifications to it because it's simplified. But basically, you can create your own object and plop it in here. This is just a sample code. Hang on, I need to double check though where I pasted it, so then you can paste it in the same spot. All right, my pre-made disassembly, which I did beforehand. It's right above the Angel Island plain intro. So we can go to this location and then copy paste our code just to make sure it works. There we go. And we can just tab, or enter. I'm sorry. Why do I keep saying tab? All right. So go to the link in the description to this place that I've shown. Now we just copy this entire object that I made for you, so you can utilize and test. Of course, I could go through the explanations, but I don't really feel like doing that right now. You can do that yourself if you want, but this is just a demonstration. I mean, you can feel free to use this for this object for your tutorials. I mean, you're more than welcome to. So yeah, basically, and then we gotta change the plain intro in our array for Tails, which he is the second player, so 0 for Sonic and Tails, Sonic, and then Tails, which is right here, which is at location 8. Okay, so now we gotta test and make sure it works. So let's go ahead to Tails intro, just make sure we have it in here. Oops, okay, I don't want to go through the whole thing. Okay. So now I have player intro cutscenes here. We have, so yeah. Let's see. My throat's getting kind of exhausted, so let's just hurry this up. Let's see, what else? Something else I needed to double check. Oh, well, we'll get to that in a minute. That one last change that I had to do. But I will get to it in a little bit. Hang on, let's just check this list here. So yeah, I did that. I made sure it's in long size. Okay, sorry. Let me just go back real quick. Let's make sure I'm doing this right. Oh, right. I forgot to do one small change. I'm sorry. Let's go over to that, back to the, let's go, back to the, Skip Angel Island intro. Let's go back to there again. Go ahead. Let's see. So basically, we got to change this to 3, or we just got to get rid of this one line. I mean, we don't have to, but this is just so then, you can, basically you can add any player mode here if you want. If you want them to skip the cutscene entirely, as I stated earlier, that's the whole point of this routine here. But yeah, basically. So let's go ahead and compile and test, make sure Tails' cutscene works. I mean, I'm removing. Oops, hang on a second. Oh, whoops. Oh, hang on, I made a little mistake here. Hang on a second. Tails alone. Whoops. Let me just go back real quick. Wait. Hang on. Did I compile on the right one? Oh, I did. Hang on a second. Did I screw something up here? Oh, wait. I forgot a branch. Hang on a second. Just okay. Sorry. For my object that I created, the Tails Angel intro object, I forgot to include the call to the routine. Let me just go over to it real quick. Here it is. This right here basically is supposed to spawn the Tails object. I am so sorry. I forgot to include that. Let's go over and find that. Oops, hang on. Let me go over to skip a no. Let me go over to spawned player sprites. Was it? No, sorry, wrong one. Wrong routine. Let's go back. Go back. Okay, spawn players. Is this correct? Yes, this is correct. Okay, we could put. This is mainly just to spawn Tails for my object, because after the cutscene finishes, it loads the player. I forgot to include this branch. I'm so sorry. So you're supposed to include the branch. So yeah, make sure you do that first before doing anything else. After you're done with pasting the object in. So now we compile. Should work now. Wait, is that correct? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and test it now. All right. All right, skip this. Okay, we're near the end of the tutorial. Now Tails loads. There we go. That's his new cutscene. Let's see. See if it worked. Show you how it works. Okay, now it spawns the Tails object. So yeah. It's a little buggy, but it's okay. You can make the adjustments if you want. Oh, there's one small bug, which it loads the Sonic icon as opposed to Tails' icon. We can make that quick change real quick. First, let's just test one more thing. Make sure the cutscene's skippable, like all the others. Let's go ahead. Alright, so after he flies, just press start. It skips. Okay, good. It works now. Just like Sonic 3 Complete with its little neat enhancement. So now I can just go ahead and now we can go and make that small change of the HUD, because it loads Sonic's HUD and doesn't change it to Tails's whenever you try to change his cutscene based on the object loading. But why I kind of forgot why it did that, but it was because I made adjustments. Oh no, it was because I made adjustments to the code for including the Skip Angel Island intro and making adjustments to all those locations. So yeah, we made a change that's completely removed, which I think the location was 6088. This is the location here for Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So we're going to go ahead and make the small change just to fix the HUD. Let me double check what I did here specifically. It was a small change I did. Okay, so basically what we did here was we changed that included a small another branch which would make it load the HUD. It was right here, I believe. Yes, PLC2. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and tab. Let's go ahead to load Tails icon PLC. Alright, that's fine. Alright, we're going to move quickly to 0. To data register. Oh, sorry, we're going to change this to 7 because that's Tails' HUD icon. Let's go ahead and compare bytes. Or, no, wait, was it? No, sorry, word. We'll put I for compare integer word. I believe that's what it stands for. Go ahead and put player mode. Oh, player mode. Underscore mode. Oh, mode. There we go. And if it's not equal to this, we'll skip over. We don't have a cutscene for Knuckles. If you were to include this cutscene for Knuckles, you would have to make the adjustment for Knuckles as well by putting 3, or by including the icon number, which would a PLC number for Knuckles. But we're not going to do that right now. We're just focusing on Tails' cutscene. So yeah, there we go. Let's double check to make sure that's correct. Okay, should be good to go now. Let's go ahead and compile. Alright, last thing to test. Make sure the cutscene loads properly. Tails. Alright, the HUD works now. We fixed the life icon here, the little small life icon. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, we're going to try one more thing, one more small thing. Alright, let's go ahead and skip, see if it works. Yep, it works. Alright, let's make sure I didn't screw up with Sonic's icon. Just double checking, so I won't have to go back to doing anything. Alright, life icon works, as expected. Here we can test one more time, just for the other Sonic. Okay. It works. Perfect. Alright, I think that is the end of this tutorial. That's pretty much everything I wanted to cover today. Next week, we'll go over Sonic 3 alone, of how to make these same changes here to Sonic 3 Alone's Angel Island intro. But anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.